Against this right back, Charlie's definitely.
You always use that active red light defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again. Happy Saturday. I hope everyone's doing well and safe. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and even in some cases, good night, depending on where else you guys are in this world. Like I said, good morning from those of you. Good morning for those of you in the UK. Good morning from the UK. Hope you all had a good week. You know, hope you've all got your health. Hope you can look back of last week with fondness. Hope you all have a good weekend. And likewise, I hope next week is full of riches, you know, spiritually, financially, physically, all of those things. Wishing you lot good health among everything. Like I said, one love to everybody tuned in. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Didn't think I'd be here, people, but there's 2 Arsenal things to speak about, so why not? Obviously, please make sure you're hitting the like button and subscribing. After this, Liverpool versus Burnley, I told you a lot more neutral watch-alongs were on the way. Make sure you're following on Twitch. You're taking me in on Twitch and all those things, because that's where it will be hosted. And especially for those of you that actually like a stopwatch or a match clock or whatever, that's actually there. So yeah, one love to everybody. Please make sure you're all there and whatnot, man. It should be fun. Make sure you're hitting the like button. I hope you're all doing well and safe. Now I'm going to speak about Ramsdale. Obviously, bro, I've been milking it, innit? Ramsdale is all the titles and things have been. Ramsdale's been officially confirmed. Obviously, we'll get into it. Not really here to speak about Odegaard. I just thought with the 2 new signings, it'd be good to have them here. Allegedly, I don't know if the Daily Mail are talking common sense or not, folks, but there's could be rumblings in the dressing room. Arteta has also spoken about Granit Xhaka. So, and yeah, and of course, I'll be taking in what you lot are saying. Any questions, talking points, any emerging news you lot see that happens to be a thing where obviously I'm not here. It is what it is. On the topic of Ramsdale, you know, obviously, I told you that I was going to try and get 2 Sheffield United fans. So while I wasn't able to get my man on this, you know, shout to my guy. I don't want to reveal too much, but obviously I'll play a little video when we're getting on to Ramsdale, just for you guys and myself, because we can talk about Ramsdale. I rate him, I don't rate him, I don't rate him, I rate him, you know, and it doesn't mean the Sheffield United fans necessarily know more or less than us, but just in terms of getting a correct sentiment and something like that out of people that have had to watch Ramsdale for obvious reasons week in, week out, I thought it would be good if we look at another perspective, because we don't know. We've never seen my man in the shirt. I like Ramsdale's mentality in the interviews. I like how he's going on. You know, I want him to do well, because I feel, you know, there's a difference between constructive criticism, questioning his ability, questioning can he do it. Those are fair footballing things. I'm referring to now, obviously, the people that were attacking him and getting a bit personal and whatnot. From that, anyways, I want him to succeed even more, because that's just how I am as a person. I know how it feels to be on the receiving end of stuff like that. But when you see him, you know, he's taking his granddad's ashes to sign him for Arsenal and things. It makes you want him to win, man. You want a man to win when you've got things like that. But at the end of the day, that's nothing to do with football, innit? All that matters is if he's a good or a bad goalie. And I hope he's a good goalie. I would love him to actually, for me, eclipse Leno, because just for the basis of he seems like he wants to be here. Leno hasn't said he wants to or not want to be here, but, you know, I'd rather you go and take it. So go there, pressure him, and do all of those sort of things, people. So we'll get into all of that, people. Like I said, we're running to quite a tight time schedule today. Obviously, I typically overrun. I apologize for being late, throwing them in the bin, but I had some 2 jellies for breakfast. You know, the work rate's crazy, but I need to eat, people. And some of the jellies actually just splattered onto my leg. And where's my tissue? And onto the floor. Let's pick that up. Let's clean that off. Let's put that there. That was a mare, but it's cool. It is what it is. We move. It is what it is. What are you lot saying before we carry on? You know, I always like to take in what you lot are saying. You lot always say sensible things, or at least the majority of you do. We're still interested in our DG. I hope so. I really hope so. I want I want an 8.5, or I want someone that can play there. You know, I want that. That's all really what I wanted this summer. I said it before. I wanted a centre mid, a pure sort of centre mid, more so than a 10. I'm not saying the 10 wasn't as vital, but I wanted a centre mid I wanted a centre half and I wanted a right back among the obvious, because I feel that goes a long way to addressing the spine. And I felt, I wasn't saying bring in Ben White, but fair enough. Ben White's come in, 50 million should be better than what we have. Not that that's hard to do. Obviously, right back, it's not been dealt with. We have brought Lokonga, but I kind of wanted Lokonga and someone else. And I've previously said, obviously, them times there was looking like Xhaka's days at Arsenal were numbered. So I thought, finally, away from Xhaka, this club has to finally do what they need to do and find a midfielder that is levels, and find a midfielder that is levels for Partey. Same way, was it last summer? Technically, yeah, last summer, we needed both. It wasn't, you know, forget Our for a sec, but just the skill set. Obviously, Our has to defend, but you more bringing him in to go forward, contribute going forward. Partey obviously can pass the ball forward, but his primary contributions to this team is to be a box-to-box midfielder, ball winning midfielder. And I felt to get the best out of that, you needed the yin and yang sort of thing. To get the best out of Our or whoever was going to come in, if they were to come in last season, you needed that. And I feel the club did a really good job on the fans of making them, it's either Our or Partey, where they were both kind of needed, or away from either player's name, we needed that skill set. God knows what would have happened. We coulda, woulda, shouldas are not facts in it. Facts is Partey, he plays for the club in North London. But if there was not a release clause, I'm pretty sure even the most optimistic of Arsenal fans probably doesn't expect Thomas Partey to sign for our club. So it is what it is. I hope we're still interested in Our, broski. I really hope we're still interested in Our. Hope we still interested in Hosem Hour. We'll call that the first couple of moments. What else are you lot saying? One love to everybody locked in. Is my fan on the right volume? Yeah, it is. Everything's going smoothly today. Everything's cushy. One of the lights wouldn't turn on. Everything is cushy, though. I got the DG Nation with proper comments and whatnot. CFC's finest has said 2 dislikes before the live begins. What's DG been doing with the baby mums? I had a quiet Friday. I haven't done anything. It's not my fault, man. Make sure we're defeating them on the likes purposes, people. People are free to dislike, but it is what it is. Keeping Xhaka is very weird, especially when Our is available for a cut price. We're going to get into it, but I would say it's weird, but it's not weird. For me, not upgrading on Xhaka and Xhaka being sort of first name on the team sheet sort of thing is the issue. And fair play, if that's what Arteta wants to do, whether you succeed at Arsenal or not, I would want to look back knowing that I made these decisions because I wanted to make them. Fair play. I think we're building our house on not solid foundations. Xhaka isn't terrible every week. He's not a terrible footballer, but there will come a time where man show you they can't help us to where we want to go. Same with Callum Chambers and whoever else wants to play right back. They will have good games, and really against Brentford, that was Callum Chambers' first poor game in a while. But somewhere along the line, these sort of players, Marie, Chambers, Cedric, Xhaka, these guys, El Nene, everybody and their nan was wanking over El Nene when he done well at United. Credit where due, and he was all over the pitch. The club done them videos with every touch. These guys show you they're not levels, and we started this season. I remember on these live streams, people say, do we need a centre half if Marie's there? Do we need a right back Chambers? The answer is yes. I asked you lot in your hearts. I'm not saying these are bad players, but I asked you in your heart, can you count on them for 38 games? No player is going to be out for 38 games. People have bad games. But you look at the Tierney's and people of that ilk, it's once in a blue moon. Saka, the once in a blue moon. And more time when these lot are playing bad, they're affecting the game still for us more so than other people. So, there's a lot of players that are not cut out for it. And it's not even a thing where they're poor. It's just that you can't help us. Like we've how many years have we got to see the same old thing with certain individuals? Whether you like them or not, people, it's a fact, really and truly. So, yeah, man, it is what it is. Appreciate you lot, man. Keep the opinions and whatnot coming, folks. Let's actually I like to do them in 10-minute stages, talking to myself, people. How you guys think Our would fit into the system if we got him now? Where would Odegaard, Partey and him fit? Bro, they could all fit in or someone's got to miss out. That's what you need in a squad, bro. There's 38 games in the fixture calendar. There might be a game where you have to go Lokonga, Partey, and maybe even the next defensive man. There might be games where neither's playing. There might be games where one's on the field. There might be a game where it's Odegaard in the 10 and all these other things, or Odegaard, Partey, or Our or Odegaard and Smith Rowe. We need these options. Don't forget, at least 2 of those names in Smith Rowe and Odegaard can be shifted out wide. And also, I think Smith Rowe at times he needed to, like with Saka, they needed to be pulled out the side, not because they're playing bad. You can just tell a man's fatigued. And you lot know me, I don't like to do all this fitness and fatigue and he rest and all these things because there's many variables and variables to it. But we need problems, you know. It's too easy to pick that Arsenal team, you know. You pick the actual couple of players that are good, and then at best you're picking people that, you know, they have more cons to their games than pros, but in comparison to some of their teammates, it's the lesser of two evils. Like for me, I'm picking Xhaka out of some of these options 9 times out of 10 if it's not a part in Lokonga thing, because Xhaka has a lot of problems, but his problems, I'd rather his problems than El Nene's. At least he kind of wants to try a thing. El Nene's Mr. Safe, not to. And there's some people that say they rather the El Nene thing than the Xhaka, because let's be real, sometimes Xhaka might even look like the Swiss Perlo in certain games, like Juru said. Other times he looks like a dud. And I'm not trying to make this the Xhaka show. I'm just using him as an example. The foundations aren't safe. You're building foundations on the sand. And I think when you've got Leno, when you've got Xhaka, and you've got Bellerin, when you've got Chambers, when you've got Maitland-Niles, until these guys elevate beyond this and prove people wrong, there's too many volatile players. From 10 games, you don't know what you're getting from each individual player, let alone Arsenal Football Club. We don't. And until I can have that sort of confidence with certain players, it's a myth. It's a myth. And it's not even, I'm not trying to say they're bad players. It's just, I can't believe in you, man. Like, and I want you lot to prove me wrong, because it's a more mentality thing than anything. You know, if you're an average player, or if you're not necessarily a ticket seller, be consistent. You know, there's plenty of average Premier League legends, plenty of average people that are held in high regard at Arsenal, but they were consistent and there was a degree of reliability. If you're consistent and reliable, naturally people are going to have confidence in you. You know, you could be in the workplace. You might not be the madman that comes with the great ideas into the office and whatnot, but man, no, 9 a.m. he's always here. When there's a team meeting, he'll have his he or she will say some important things. Their research is solid. They, you know, there's a reliability there, sort of thing. People get confidence with that. Listen, I don't think there's many poor players. I've said it before. The only players I truly think are not good enough at this football club to play professional football is Renison and Bellerin, and they probably are good enough. I just genuinely look at both of you and think, I don't know, did you lot win it in lucky dip? The rest are not that bad. But the problem is you've got inconsistencies, you've got bad habits, you've got personal marks over the mentality. You have to, because these lot don't want it enough. I've always said, you know, I want you to play for the fans in the club, but it's got past that. People need to start playing for themselves and show some basic self-respect. I don't personally see that within anyone's game consistently. And the ones that do, they're in the minority. And as you lot know, it's a dangerous game with that, you know. If anything, you'd rather the majority of that 25-man squad have the mentality, and then you've got a couple of bad eggs. It's not quite that. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. There's 300 of you locked in. I appreciate the 100 of you who have hit that like button, but we must be able to start our progress until to 200 and 300 and all of those sort of things, man. Moving forward, top of the morning, right back at you, my guy. I always think of the Irish, so big up all the Irish out there if you're listening as well when I hear that saying. So one love to you lot. Personally, not a fan of Xhaka, but if Mikel thinks he's the man, then all I care about are the results. That's it as well. As long as you do the results thing and you prove me wrong, you know, all I want to see is that Partey and Xhaka proves a solid partnership. All I want to see is that they can help us get Europe, and then I can shut up. You know, I'm not trying to catch no manager out. I'm not trying to catch anyone out. You know, it might come across as that, but I love my club. So if you're telling me something and what you're doing don't match up, why do you think I keep saying I keep saying Arteta said we learned our lessons from Olympiacos? He opened his mouth and said that, you know, and then I watched that game at the time. I watched it before we played them a year later. I've watched us the time we played them a year later, and actually all the other knockout stages of the last season in the Europa. We're not moving like a team that's done that. Yeah, people, and you lot called me negative because I wasn't getting gas when we're turning it around against Slavia Prague and Benfica and all them games up until Villarreal, because I told you, look, we can't keep doing the second leg thing. We did that against Olympiacos, and all of that comes into game and man management, and that obviously a lot of them things there can be shown in the league. So, you know, Arteta has to teach a lot, but these players have got to stop being extremely naive. And I don't know if they can at this moment in time. I don't know a lot about this Arsenal team, man. A lot of things that I thought were the thing, it's not that. Morning, Alvin. Hope you're doing well and safe, man. Partey, Xhaka more similar than Partey to our arguably. Nah. Neither. Blood, there's always something going on at this club in the change room, brother. I think these people are just chatting ish, bro. I mean, I think they're just trying to get. In fact, let's get into that next, man. I think people are just out to get Arsenal. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, obviously, there probably is rumblings. Naturally, there probably is rumblings. Certain people that are serious in this football team, even if they're serious board members or serious other people, they probably do have question marks over how the club's running, over how certain other individuals are behaving, over how the manager. I want them to. Who doesn't? Any organization, any football club has that. Even at City, I'm pretty sure there's people that doubt Pep Guardiola and whatnot. Or why would certain players want to leave for whatever reason? I do think there's over sensationalism, if that's even a word, over Arsenal, because people are shocked that players have bust-ups, players have fights and things. I do think certain players could become disillusioned, because kind of what I was saying, if I'm Bukayo Saka, Tini, all of these things and whatnot, or if I'm a new player, I'd have a hard time looking at the rest of my squad like they really want it. But I do think, because of who we are as a football club, and despite the fact we haven't been succeeding, we give, you talk about Arsenal, you probably get promotions in the media world. This is what probably helps boost it. But I think it's a waste. It wouldn't surprise me, because of how we're playing. I wouldn't say any player is 100% convinced on Arteta. I definitely think a lot of them are playing for him and love him more than the media make out. But the same way, it wouldn't surprise me if people are not necessarily convinced. Because why have they got to be convinced? I'm sure he's a nice guy and things, but from a sporting perspective, it looks bewildering to us fans. You do hear rumors about overcoaching and tactical stuff. It has to be potentially unclear. Naturally, for Arteta, he's got to weed out people who are not with it, because obviously it can go left for him and whatnot, folks. But if I share my screen with you lot and hope nothing bad happens, let me remove your comments. Make sure you're running up the likes. As you lot see here, confusion, clicks, and unhappy stars. Mikel Arteta's fairy tale start at the Emirates is so long forgotten as Arsenal's problems pile up for the young manager amid a disappointing start to the season. So you can see how this will get clicks and engagements and whatnot. I'm going to keep scrolling, people. We all know Mikel Arteta had a difficult time difficult start to his life at Arsenal. He's had to deal with a lot. There's been a lot of issues, and I think they're going to make him a better manager in the future, whether that's at Arsenal or not, or somewhere else. It's down for the club and him to get into. I'm scrolling down, people, because again, it's just talking about what we know at this point. Again, don't know what this think piece is. Apparently, let's start with here. Even at this early stage of the campaign, one game in, the criticism has not softened. There's an acceptance that this is a tough start. City away next week and Spurs in September. If they are to lose those games, the manner of those performances will dictate which way the wind blows, but the showing at Brentford has not helped. This is not down to a lack of planning on Arteta's part. The 39-year-old will often predict patterns of play in the days before matches, telegraphing scenarios and presenting his team with information that regularly materializes at the weekend, yet they struggle. And that's something, RIP Fabinho's father as well, because I'm seeing that here. That's not good news. But that's the double whammy, and I think you can criticize Mikel Arteta for a lot, and there's a lot of luxuries and excuses he's given. End of the day, the sporting thing is his. If they're not able to get what you're doing, then you need to do something else. But it's the same. Big up Spurs as well. Jamie O'Hara always get it. One Z-list guy was talking about my club, about Banter FC. What the fuck did you do? Your wife was out there getting revved out by a bit of a man. You are the Mickey Mouse man. But moving forward and staying on task, and not getting at these sort of guys, I think there's a lot of things. This double whammy of Arteta has his own issues, and the players are not listening to his tactics. But at the same time, I do think sometimes he sets up the team well, and these players' naiveties, they shoot it, it gets blown out the water. You do get the vibe that he plans all week, and he tells them about why they shouldn't leave a man free, a certain striker or whatever free, and then 30 seconds within the game, these players go and do it. Now, the flip side, or the third side of that token, if there even is one, is that Mikel Arteta is playing some of these players. There's no longer a woe is me approach. Just because he didn't buy a player did not mean it's not Arteta's player at this moment. He chose to, I'm just throwing some out there. He chose to bet on Leno to the point where Martinez left. He chose to reintegrate Mustafi and set Saliba off. He chose to double down on Xhaka, He's chosen a lot of these things. He says, I want Bellerin. He's chosen these things. He has chosen them. So if you're letting them down, they're your lieutenants. And I always say, I don't get the vibe that Arteta truly understands his job's on the line, because at some point it's got to become a him or me. These players, some of them are under contract longer than you, whether we rate them or not. Such is life. They will outlast the manager, as they're probably thinking, because some of them have done it a couple of times. going on, you can only do so much with the players you've got, which is true. But can I ask myself the simple question of, while I think these players are underperformers, they bottle a lot, they don't have the grit, they do not make Arteta's case stronger. Has he got the best out of them? Is it a case where I can look at that team and say, I can see a system, I can see what he wants? If he gets players that think better, that are better and whatnot, are we going to improve? Naturally, logically, the way I've put it, you think yes, but I can't undoubtedly say that. But allegedly, that's what one source said, alluding to the rebuild that is underway and the wider difficulties at the club. Arteta knew what he was signing up for, and then the in-trade bulged off from the start. But some shoots of real progress are required quickly. Fact. The board have backed him financially for a second summer. Martin Odegaard's return from Real Madrid for 30 million, taking their spending over 100 this time, and there is hope that that could prompt a change in formation. And again, that's the most in the league. Let's add a bit of context. That would imply that Arsenal have more financial muscle than a lot of clubs. Certain men have spent close to our transfer kitty on one singular player, so it's not the truth. But there's been a spine. You've recruited young, innovative players of tomorrow that have scope to. There might be a lot of teething problems initially, but in the short and long term, we should see the fruits of our labor. Arsenal's best results over the past 18 months has come while operating a back three. Yeah, that's true. There's always going to be rumblings. You heard there was concerns about Ben White, about Aouar, about Odegaard. There's always going to be concerns, but allegedly there's bigger issues than tactics. Bigger issues than tactics have remained at play since Arteta took the job. One love for the super chats. I'm going to get to them in a sec. Sources insist he has not tackled dressing room problems with enough gusto, and that internal wrangling is what holds this squad back the most. The clicks at London Coley have not been eradicated, and I hear that there is clicky, but you're going to get clicks everywhere. You don't think there's clicks at City or at Liverpool? You don't. I'm not saying it's a country's thing, but you don't think there might be the Mandem, the geezers, the Spaniards, the Germans. Obviously, you get a couple of floaters and a couple of exceptions. There's going to be clicks anywhere. There's clicks in every workplace. The problem is also that it's the bad eggs, because if you're clicking, this goes for everyone at Arsenal. For me, click is a gang thing. Or I'm with my homies. If I'm on a football field, or if we getting problems on the streets, if my friends' problems are my problems, we're all going down, or it's all whatever. I don't see that fight for the team. Because for me, it just seems, and I've always hated it, and I'm sure you've all had friends like this, whether you're young or old. It just seems like we're bad for our friends when it's time to show that same fight and stuff to people out on the street and stuff, or in a footballing sense, we're not on it. We've got all this mouth internally. We want to fight each other internally, and I don't mind it, because I should hear tear-ups and punch-ups and things, Plenty of you claim you're football fans and you're shocked when you hear footballers fighting. There's bare testosterone there. What do you expect? The problem is, when you're now playing Brentford, I don't see no one fighting, but you'll all give it to each other in the change rooms. Be bad for the strangers as much as your brethren. Anyways, people, others claim, though, that the manager has been too heavy-handed with popular members of the squad, which is also true. Obviously, the likes of Mesut Ozil, Guendouzi have been, they've paid the price during his acts of authority. Apparently, they point to Arteta maintaining a no excuses mantra following defeats, only to then criticize individuals. It raised eyebrows when Aubameyang was publicly rebuked by his manager for turning up late for their victory over Tottenham. He deserved that. But Mikel Arteta, one thing he didn't do, not with the corona thing that's come out recently, he hasn't been clear about what's going on with Aubameyang. And I'm not going to say anything, but there'll be a day when everything is laid bare for every fan, and you'll question Mark Arteta. The way Arteta speaks in the press, especially around his players, he needs to show more experience. And fast, people, really and truly. Apparently, equally, a few senior players have not made life easy for the boss during his first crack at the number one job. And to be fair, there's inconsistencies. It feels like there is one rule for one and one rule for another, where that's not what it should be. Apparently, what can be agreed upon is the lack of warmth and loyalty that exists within the squad, and the consequence of that is an inconsistency on the pitch. I think that's all excuses. I just think you're all bottle jobs. Every one of you, you're all pretenders, Winners take accountability, losers blame. This is the problem that we as a club have done, because we've made average people feel the best in the world and feel that they owe us something, to the point where they can't even play for themselves, whoever it is. It's ridiculous, people. I don't know what I don't know what it's gone on. It's gone on to speak about Xhaka and things. We're going to speak about Xhaka. Spoken about Ramsdale. It's not really of relevance, man. Let's just try to stay on task. These are calls that Arteta did not have to make at City alongside Guardiola. And for me, I can't lie. Whether you've been a manager or not, I'm shocked. A wise man learns from other people, I don't. Some of the way he talks, some of the way he says things, I can't imagine you played under Wenger and you worked with Pep Guardiola because you're quite naive. City sources who believed Arteta could one day succeed Guardiola were genuine when liberally using the words potentially disastrous for the champions in the days before he departed the Etihad. City struggled after, well, they went on to get Champions League final and win the league. Apparently, Arteta's individual coaching was one of his key successes. I'm not going to keep reading it out, but you look around a lot of these young players, they're going to need that. And Arteta, you're the manager. You can't really dedicate time to individuals as well as the collective to the same amount because you've got to get 3 points on the weekend. So now it's down to your delegation. For example, we hear there's at my age, a 26-year-old individual coach, Carlos Chieva or something, that works within Arteta's system. Now, if he's an individual coach, can you delegate? Okay, cool. Hey, Carlos, after this group session, I beg you take off Ben White and take Ben White to the side and work on this or do this with whoever and whatnot, people. So we'll have to see what happens, man. And apparently he still does one-to-one sessions himself, as you should do. And to be honest, I do think the players that really are of a certain mentality are improving regardless. Smith Rowe, Tierney, etc. Someone also said, I think he's a smart guy and going to be a good manager eventually. One source said, a real student of the game, very meticulous, but do they create? How many goals do they score? Look at the senior players who are great players consistently in their careers like Partey, Aubameyang, and how have they fared under him? They've all got to take individual responsibility, but there's no smoke without fire. Why a lot of these players are not consistent? We haven't got a system, so players are not looking serious. It's looking like square pegs in round holes. He shown no willingness to really coach an attacking style of play. So again, we're struggling. There's inconsistencies playing out from the back. So how are we going to get the ball from back to front? We don't press as a team. So how do we defend from the front? That's our first. There's 2 lines of our defense before it actually gets to our back line. Until we start to look like a well-engined unit, there's an issue. And a lot of these players are not able to do it. I hear that. But Mikel Arteta has chosen to keep them. He spent 100-odd million. Do I think that's the maddest of budget? No, but you've been quote-unquote backed. There's enough players there now to not do fireworks, but therefore show us a system. That's all we're asking. For me, I just want to be able to ask myself the question of, Arteta is showing me enough now. Now we get back to getting Kroenke out and all of these things. A good tradesman never blames his tools, but at the same time, you can only do as well as the tools presented to you. Is Arteta getting the best out of his tools? Certain people might say he's crippled. Certain people might say he sounds like a spoiled child. Let's be real. Away from Arsenal, what we used to be, a man has got to spend 100 million. A man has Pepe, Lacazette, Aubameyang, Martinelli, Saka, all of these guys. He's got a lot to work with. We know Arsenal's a joke thing right now, and it's a madness. But you sound like a spoiled child. You really do. Certain managers really have to work with struggle. So it does seem like that kid who has all the toys and, he doesn't really play with them to the best of their ability. Mommy just keeps buying you another one. All I want to see is a system for me. I can't answer the simple question of what is Arsenal's system. So that's the issue there, people. So again, bit of an over sensationalized story. It wouldn't surprise me. Look at where we are. Look how we performed over preseason. I want to see fracturedness. I want to see different opinions. As long as everyone at this club understands that no one is bigger than the club, leave your egos at the door. And we're doing this with the intent of getting the club better. Fair play. What can I tell you, lot? But time will tell. Time will tell in that regards, man. It's a long season. It's only been 1 game week. And like I said, these lot write their own futures. It's game week 1. Accept what has happened. You write your own futures in May. You lot will decide whether they praise you or critique you in May. Same way with Arteta and Ramsdale and whatnot. It's down to you whether you want to make that 30 million look like peanuts or like we've overpaid. The same for Ben White. The same for everyone else. It's down to Aubameyang as well as Arteta. Do you want everyone to put respect on your name? It's down to these players. And like I said, I want to see players playing for themselves as much as I want the club and the fans. I've seen a lack of self-respect in these players. So if you don't respect yourself, you're not going to respect the badge. You're not going to respect the opportunity you had. You're not going to respect paying season ticket holders, international fans waking up at stupid o'clock, fans at the stadium, fans just giving their time and their effort and their energies, whether they're in the stadium or watching it at work or on the stream or whatever. The time for talking is done. Time for talking is done. And like I said, we'll see what this team is on come May. The table don't lie. You can tell me, look at the improvement we made since December. That doesn't get you into anything, because ultimately, I would also flip that on its head and say, well, if you lot improved so much in December, why did you lot still finish 8th? Why was there not better consistency? Why did you not get over the line? You can't. That's the problem. We find positives where it's not that you can't find positives. It's like rather than find negative, talk about the negatives, find the 1-2 positives within that negative, apply balance and move forward. It's like, bro, we will lose. You like what? Let's just say we get a football game's a 90-minute. We're the sort of club, it might be 10 minutes into a game. We've started off the 10 minutes slow. We've gone down 2-3-0. And then what? After that 10 minutes, we wake up. We then score 2-3 goals and we're a goal behind and the game ends. Rather than wonder about that first 10, we'll flip it and say, oh, well, we weren't at the first 10. If we just focus and whatnot, then there's games we start off well and then mess it up. We finding positives where there's none, finding negatives where there's none. Ultimately, this club, from the fans to the players to the gaffer to the owners, everyone lacks real balance. People can't understand balance. People can't understand there's two truths living in one realm. There's a lot of extreme opinions. 1 minute these guys are the best thing since sliced bread, then they're absolutely atrocious. This club is unhealthy and we didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight. We just need to know that everybody involved is serious about this mission of getting Arsenal back to where we used to be. Whether that's the case is another thing. Please make sure you're hitting the like button and you're, opening up another tab. You're following me on Twitch, because straight after this, well, more or less after this, I'm obviously going to be doing a Liverpool-Burnley watch-along. I see a couple super chats, and I don't mean to air it. Let me scroll all the way down. One love to everybody locked in. Big up yourself, Leon Bailey. Yo, what go on with the like button, people? Slap the like, hold tight, DG Liam. Shout the members. I appreciate that, my guy. I did think there was a next live. There was a next one. Apologies if I've missed it. Here it is, man. I can't pronounce your name. Forgive me. I mean, no disrespect. I'm starting to believe the process. If we start adding a right back an hour this way at home, we can play hour and party and we won't struggle. Love for the super chat. I hear that. For me, it's the mentality. When I see the mentality change, things can change, because I see a lack of mentality. An inconsistency in tactics, square pegs in round holes. I can't see a clear way of playing. So I do think people are set up to fail. I like Ramsdale. I want him to play well, but I don't see a well-functioning unit with people in that defense that take accountability. Everybody seems to play the blame game. Fullbacks are saying, why didn't the wingers tuck in? Centre-halves are blaming fullbacks. Fullbacks are blaming goalies. Goalies are blaming everyone. No one's taking accountability. And it just seems like the blind leading the blind. Odegaard's coming into a team which underperforms creativity. We're not shooting. We're not creating. We're not scoring. We're not doing bare things. Logically, we're lacking. You bring someone who's able to do it. It makes sense. But in reality, if there's not consistent movement, if the whole team's mandate isn't to breed creativity, we're going to look at him like we looked at Ozil, or some fans did, with the same things were happening. So it's like people are set up to fail. Ben White, the same logic as Ramsdale, man, are coming in and it's looking like a bit of a joke thing. Of course, your deficiencies to a degree are going to be hidden at Brighton, because you look at left and you look right, you see certified defenders. They don't need to be world-class and household names. You see people that have been around the block. What's his name? Dan Burn, Duffy. Well, Duffy went out on loan. People of this ilk, people that are switched on. So until we recognize this, it's a bit bewildering, man. It's bewildering. Look at young Balogun, signed a new deal, buzzing to get his Prem start. He looks around at his senior players. Everyone looks clueless, absolutely clueless. So it's one of them ones, man. Love for the super chats, people. Love for the super chats. What are you lot saying as well? DG, thanks for your hard work. Best Arsenal content on YouTube. Not sure of that, Carl. Grant. Man said Carl. Carl's commented as well. I'm not sure of that, Grant, but I appreciate that nonetheless, man. One love. It means a lot. DG, I'm coming to grips with your thinking, bro. The players we're bringing in aren't most appealing to me. But like you said, if Arteta wants a player, make sure you get him. Then he has no excuses. For me, just show you can get something out of the players, because I just want to be able to say with Arteta, like I said when he took over, there's so many variables you can't control, but trying to change the mentality, showing me a system. These are things I need you to say. I want to be able to say with him, like I said with Emery, I want to say, listen, they're being shortchanged. Look at what he's doing. Within the context, there's attacking football there. There's a system. He clearly needs better players. Like a point, not to use them, but like you saw at Spurs under a point with Pochettino, where you could say, listen, the players know they need other players to help them. The gaffer knows it. The fans know it. Or like with Liverpool, you saw Liverpool just needed 1-2 couple other things. I can't say Arteta 1-2 couple other things. You show me 5 reasons to think you're the guy. You show me 5 reasons to think you're shaky. I can't be Arteta in or out. I'm Arsenal with. There's every reason to sack you and pull the trigger based on what happened last year. The same way, I don't think there's every reason to just, pitchforks on the gaffer. As I said, though, from now until December, it's a long winter. And for me, if I'm Arteta, I wouldn't be trying to carry passengers. If I'm the players, I'm not trying to carry no one. You know, we go together, you know, but I can't carry this, you know, everyone pull their weight. I'm not carrying no one because Arteta is his job on the line. At the end of the day, he's going to get the clip. You know, they can bet on him as much as he wants. What's easier to do? Get rid of the gaffer, who's not one of the most expensive in the league, or get rid of the players? You know, some of these players are on big wages, you know. Let's be real. I don't think players are sinister, but let's be real. They know they can. A couple of them know they can outlast the gaffer because some of them are still surviving from Arsene Wenger. If you can survive the Arsene Wenger era, you can survive the first novice manager that's taken over. You can survive Unai Emery at Arsenal. You can survive bare things. One love to everybody that's locked in, man. I'm appreciating everything, man. What else are you lot saying? We're only at 230 likes. This is terrible, man. Sad boy, that's not positive. Don't know what I said, but you know, I'm not gonna say anything I don't believe. If you want positive goobity goop, you need to head elsewhere, man. He puts in more of a shift than Ozil. I mean, Ozil ran about as well. What I mean by that is you're going to expect 10 goals, 10 assists. The man can't do it on his own when you see him dropping deep. And to be fair, certain fans have been onto him already and were onto him. So it's a bit of a myth, man. Appreciate all the comments and whatnot, man. Bro, from time Arteta said winning or losing don't determine if you're doing a good job or not so comfy. We're done out here, my guy. I mean, I'm going to have to see the context. You know, I'm going to have to see the context because you're doing them a bit dirty, but fair play. Appreciate the Polish unit just locked in. Appreciate that. What else you lot saying? Big up yourself, Joshua. So yeah, man. I think with that being said, I think we might as well crack on to Xhaka now. Apparently, Mikel Arteta has revealed why Xhaka didn't go. We all know, granted, Xhaka did not. You know, the club never wanted Xhaka to leave. Xhaka wanted to leave. Whether it's a change of heart, whether Roma had or didn't have the appropriate money to put into buying him, I don't know. You know, all I know is he had this amazing season allegedly for Arsenal where we finished 8th. He had this amazing Euros. We were told by, you know, I do think he gets a lot of harsh critics, but we were told by Xhaka sexuals that there'll be a whole list of clubs ready to use the mismanaged, the misunderstood genius, which is Granit Xhaka. The only one that forthcame was Roma, and allegedly Jose Mourinho wanted him even down to his Arsenal days, and has always been admired. For some reason, they didn't want to pay an extra 2-3 million. He signed a new deal. So that tells you everything, don't it, really? But let's see what allegedly Mikel Arteta has said. Now, he's never going to tell us the truth, but as you lot see here, and I do think Granit Xhaka is a leader and he can help the whole squad. My problem with Xhaka is purely, I don't think he should be one of the first names on the team sheet. I think a serious club needs to upgrade on Granit Xhaka. I think you could use him as part of the squad. I don't think he's terrible at all. Actually, there's a lot of things to admire about Xhaka. You know, I know because of the relationship with the fans, he's public enemy number one, but there's no balance with this individual. People would have you believe this guy is up there with Pirlo and the legends of the game. There's certain man that will tell you, you know, people were saying he's better than Vieira. What even mentioning this guy's name in the same category as Vieira? Absolute blasphemy. But the same way, there's people acting like the guy is absolutely trash. He can't even play non-league. Neither is true. He's a decent player. He's just, there's a bit of misunderstood. There's a bit of not being utilized. There's a bit of, for me, he's just not able, a club that wants to be a top club for what he brings to the table or how Arteta tries to make him. I don't think he's good enough for that. The best midfielders, for instance, do things in less touches. If things can be done in 2, why are you taking 10? He's of that nature. But anyways, Mikel Arteta denies Arsenal wanted to sell Granit Xhaka this summer. We never wanted him to go. So again, further doubling down on him as well as Leno. Mikel Arteta says Arsenal never wanted to sell Granit Xhaka this summer. The midfielder was being tracked by Roma during the current transfer window, but they failed to meet Arsenal's 20 million asking price. The club have since extended Xhaka's contract by a year until 2024. By activating an option in his current deal, there is another option to extend it until 2025. So there's 2 rolling year deals. So that's actually a good offer. You know, it's only because it's Xhaka. I'm not going to lie. Things like that are actually a good example by Arsenal. If Xhaka was actually a decent midfielder, man would praise that. But we all know Xhaka is Arteta's lieutenant, and he is a big character in and around the dressing room. I'm wary of saying those things because everybody should be. But anyways, he said we never wanted to let him go. We explained to him the role he would have in the team, how important he is, and how far he has come in the last 2 seasons. And the fact that he has come through some difficult moments and how he has reacted and received and the respect he has gained, not only on the pitch, on the field, sorry, but around the club and in the dressing room. I mean, that's also true. And it was a lovely moment for me, anyways, for Granit and Arsenal fans when it was only pre-season, but he scored that header and he got a bit of love, man. I think fans have opened him back with open arms. It is what it is. I do think with Arsenal, there's a fine line between criticism and unfair, scapegoating. But at the same time, I do think people move like it's illegal to have constructive criticisms. But anyways, he said, we believe that he was a really important figure, and we need players like that for the development of the young players we have. It's difficult because you don't get to see much of what happens inside. People just analyze a performance or a way a player or a way of a player playing, and whether you like him more or less. But from our side, there is no doubt in his importance in the team and the squad. I mean, listen, it's only Arsenal fans, or it's only our job to care what he does on the weekend. It doesn't matter how good, if he's friends with you, if he looks after the tea lady, if he collects the fines, all of that's irrelevant. Are you a good player? Are you doing the right things? What you're saying about big character and whatnot, do us fans see that on the pitch? I do think you see it. I think if David Luiz and him are available against Villarreal, I think we play better personally. But at the same time, it does feel like there's a lot of this sort of thing, whenever we want a player to leave or whatever, we hear they're good for the young players, they're big characters, they should be. Anyone on that side of 20 going to 30 in this young Arsenal side, you should be a positive example for young players. You should carry yourself a certain sort of way. We can only analyze a performance. It doesn't matter. When William was playing poor, you were sitting here and telling me how good William is in training. It's irrelevant to me. Like, he can't do it on the match day sort of thing. So that's that in relation to Xhaka. And all I care about is if you want Xhaka to stay and you don't really want to improve the Partey Xhaka midfield or move away from that, make sure it works, because I'll be the first guy to say, you know what, fair play, Arteta. This is why you're the gaffer. All I want is it to work. All I know is I just think we're going to see what we normally see. Some games, Xhaka's going to play amazing. Not to make it about Xhaka, but he's the man of this. Going to play amazing. Then there's going to be a time where he shows you his true level. And I think the club, pardon my language, pussied out from actually fixing up the midfield, because whether Xhaka wants to stay or not, or you want him to stay, you need to upgrade that. He should be a squad player. Now, whether Xhaka wants to accept that is another thing. The man was dead set on going to Italy. If it's happened once, it's happened again. So let's see how it develops. I hope everything works out, though, as of course. Make sure you're hitting the like button, people, and all those sort of things. We'll get into Ramsdale shortly, but yeah, man, I want to take in what you guys are saying. On paper, we are fantastic, but an under inexperienced manager, we are 8th. I don't know if we're fantastic on paper. That's a strong word. Arteta never sets up the midfield to let Xhaka shine, so Xhaka should be moved on. I hear that, but arguably, I can't lie. I think if anyone has, it's been him. You've seen last season, Xhaka's the same guy, but you saw less of them glaringly obvious mistakes. Of course, they were still there on many occasions, but I definitely feel Arteta somewhat masked him. I do think Arteta's got Xhaka playing some of his best football in an Arsenal shirt. I can't sit here and cap to you. Whether that's good enough, whether it's levels is another thing, but I don't think that's fair. I just think in Xhaka's case, he's not levels for what you want to do, man. But end of the day, support the man, and it is what it is. Please stop spamming. My man DG really likes sliced bread. Prefer harder bread still, but why not, man? But Xhaka wouldn't walk away for free. He's at least contracted for 2 years. My problem with Xhaka, with Arsenal, isn't that, because like you said, we always say the club lets people go cheaply, and then the minute they stick to their guns for a fee, the club are saying they should have let him go. I'd have let him go, but I understand that as well, man. And to be fair, arguably you could have just taken anything, man. There's other midfielders that we alleged wanted. I think we never really looked for a replacement for Xhaka because we didn't want it to happen, man. What else are you lot saying? Means last season all over again? No. Let's hope not, man. Fried dumplings or festival? Oof, both, man. Both. You can't ask me them questions there. Both, still. Both. Any shot predictions for the game? Not a clue, man. BGU, the man, been down since YouTube's N'Golo Kante began his thing. J3, I can't say a username. Either way, I appreciate that, man. It means a lot, man. Pardon my language, man. The man said James Corden. It's not in discipline. Xhaka can't move with any swiftness. Situations other teams would break are impossible for him. Exactly. And it's not even that. Man know that the team runs through Xhaka. And people know Arsenal is left-hand centric already. You know, hopefully with Odegaard and he drifts over there. Hopefully with a right back coming in, or if we could pick a consistent right back, we can allow the development between the winger and the right back on the right-hand side to develop. But everybody knows we're left-hand centric. Everyone knows you try to stop Tini, you press Xhaka, like what Brentford said, we're out the game. We play our playing out from the back is terrible anyway. So if you get rid of the one midfielder who comes short to offer it, he's out the game. Then Smith Rowe has to come to past the halfway line. Then our strikers are out the game, so they drop deeper. Then your team get higher. Then now we're camped in our own half. Then their fullbacks can start having fun. This is a lot of the things I mean when I say it's not even that these players are bad or I have criticism with Arteta. It just feels we defeat ourselves before we talk about the opponents. You know, we don't. The way we set up tactically is very naive, in my opinion. Very naive. I mean, if Lacazette had 20 league, could get 20 league goals, he'd be amazing. You know, if we could merge Lacazette and Aubameyang, they'd be amazing. If the RB never got injuries, who knows what would have happened, man? If Bellerin didn't get an injury, where would he be? Ifs and buts, they got no place here, bro. We can only deal with where we're at. I hear you, though. Do you think our squad is a right back and centre mid away from challenging for top four? Not really. Yes, but not really. For me, mentality, broski. Mentality. Mentality don't change. It don't matter who walks in this club. As long as the mentality is not, as long as I can't have confidence in your mentality over a sustained period, I can't see much happening. We're at 303 likes. I'm very appreciative, but there's over 600 of you locked in. So we should at least have 4 or even beyond that. If you haven't hit the like button, forget about new signings on top of who we've brought in. Unexpected high bills are due. You know, if you've hit the like button, you're gonna win £1 million. You're gonna have the best physical health. You know, life's just gonna be sweet. So one love to everyone who has hit that like button. God bless you. You lot, you cheapskates who haven't hit it, doing me dirty. Like I said, also please make sure you're here for the Twitch watch along and all those things. I appreciate all of you lot who have turned up early on this Saturday from where I am. What's the trouble in the dressing room? We covered that already. What it's worth, I don't think there is. I think the club, whoever, not even the club. I just think these journalists, they're just looking at the fact that Arsenal is fractured. Because if some buts are not there, but if we was to have won our first game, what would they have said now? We know these journalists are very. This is why I want us to fix up even more, because it's not Arsenal against the world, but these journalists, like, they say Arsenal's not good enough. They're not this. They're not that. Why the fuck does everyone always talk on us then and start revamping these things? Every time we have a bit of shaky form, question marks over Arteta. The board is doing this. The players are fighting. This guy wants to leave. This guy now wants to stay. Bro, they know what it is. They know what it is. Because for me, if Arsenal really is this bad kept secret and this terrible team, why are you always chatting? Because they know we're getting, you can't not talk about us if you want to. It's like United, there's certain teams you have to talk about. These engagement, man, love it, man. Man said, don't beg for likes. If you knew anything about YouTube, you know the power in consistently asking. Never beg for nothing in my life, bro. What are you talking about? I will say hit the like button if I want to say hit the like button, bro. I can show you begging, but I'd never do that. Fuck out of here. Trust me. Easy clicks. Easy clicks. They love to eat it up. Look at it, bro. Aubameyang and Lacazette, them man, they're ill. People are saying they're fighting Arteta. They don't want this. They don't want that. This is why, for me, I want a siege mentality more than anything. Like, it should be us against the world, because the man, them don't like us. And just look at the stuff they get away. There should be laws against things like that. Undoubtedly lying. That's absolutely lying. You're damaging people's character at a time where there's already wolves looking for Aubameyang. There's already question marks over his professionalism, and then there's issues there. And then you're going to do all of that. When someone has effed up, like where he was allegedly late for Spurs, bro, what can you say about that? He has to face the music, man. But at the same time, shouldn't be getting onto, man. Bro, talk shy. They're hypocrites, man. They're hypocrites. They will say AFTV are about clicks and stuff, but then they'll have Jamie O'Hara spouting nonsense, Simon Jordan spouting nonsense, anyone spouting nonsense. Even got Darren Bent moving a bit mad these days as well. Should be able to just slide tackle some journalists, man, when you catch them in the press conference, man. You should be able to just slide them, man. I don't mind Xhaka if we need him to if we need to unlock him by putting a back three so he can play a more advanced midfielder. I hear that, but it's not really the sort of guy I want to be moving bits and pieces of the squad around, man. Bro, exactly. I don't even trying to be disrespectful to Spurs and whatnot as much more than we need to. But who the hell is Jamie O'Hara, bro? This is the problem. Like, people just get to talk with authority, man. It's like when, you know, for years Mesut Ozil, no heart, no desire, getting it in personally. And then I remember we beat Spurs. The same journalists that were drawing him out, he's replying to the comments that they're saying. They're getting upset. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely ridiculous, man. This is why for me, these players should want to have self-respect for themselves even more. You know, because it can't be nice hearing people say you don't care and things. Do I think I won't quite say the players don't care, but, you know, if I'm a player, I'm going to take that personally. I'm one of the most self-reflecting people on the planet. I'm a professional athlete, or we should be anyways. I should be taking it. They should be taking it personally, you know. But I don't know. Man. I don't know. One love to everybody locked in. Keep running up the likes and things like that. Let's get into this Aaron Ramsdale stuff, people. So, yeah, with Ramsdale, he's confirmed he's signing for the club and all of those sort of things, people. So it is, well, it is. Yeah, Xhaka is kind of like Jorginho in that sense, CFC's finest. But the problem is with Xhaka, the pros to doing that are not outweighed by the cons, at least with Jorginho. You know, obviously, when he was going through a bit of woeful form, people were chatting on his name, but you see the pros. You know Jorginho against Arsenal once every year is going to play rubbish. You know he's not going to get goals and whatever, but you know he allows the more attacking players that you've got, the Havertz, the Mounts, to stay further forward. You know he can unlock a defense. He probably somewhat relieves pressure on your defense because he wants the ball as well, and he's always showing for it. As much as, you know, your guys are good on the ball. And personally, obviously Jorginho's better than Xhaka, of course. I never said nothing different. But the thing I like about Jorginho, do you know how amazing it is to have a player that always shows for the ball, that always wants it? And like I said, things that can be done in 2 touches, he's trying to do it in 2 or less. Certain men are trying to do it in 10. You know, that's our problem. We've got Xhaka who will take more touches but has the bravery. And then you've got El Nene who plays the sideways pass. So, yeah, man, it is where it is. Once again, I don't think anybody said Xhaka isn't clear. I mean, Jorginho isn't clear of Xhaka. But, yeah, for those who didn't quite understand that, now you're doing it. Anyways, moving forward, people, let's get into this Ramsdale stuff. You know, again, I'll play the video that my guy sent to me in relation to Ramsdale, but let's see what he's had to say since officially joining the club. First, let's pre the statement, people. He's joined us on a long-term contract. The 23-year-old's played for England a whole heap of times, and he's 23, but he's been on a few loans that you see with Chesterfield, with Wimbledon. He's won, you know, he's helped people stay in leagues. He's been relegated, and to be honest with you, you can laugh at the fact that he's been relegated, but for me, people's jobs are on the line. When you're in them situations there, people's jobs are on the line. You need to have big characters, you know, and I think I have to assume Ramsdale has character. Like, I have to imagine he's way more vocal than, you know, certain other people within this team. So yeah, that's what we saw in relation to Ramsdale. Where's Ramsdale's actual comments, bro? Like, Ramsdale's allegedly meant to have had his own little comments. I read I watched his interview. Oh yeah, here it is, man. And like I said, a man brought his granddad's thing to the thing, man. This is why I want the man to do well. How could you not want him to do well? Again, as much as I have sympathy and this makes my heart bleed, this has nothing to do with football. You know, it's like it's kind of the same logic of Jenkinson being an Arsenal fan. It's got nothing to do with football, but it's lovely to see. It's lovely to see. Like I said, you can have constructive criticisms, but what I don't feel is right is just to attack the man. And one thing that annoys me is that obviously he's human. He's 23. He's going to make mistakes. The first mistake, you know, you're going to get them neats going, "Oh, I told you so. I told you so." like I said, for Ramsdale's sake, I hope Arsenal know how to improve him. I hope they know his current level, and I hope they know the defensive unit he's coming into. Personally, I want him to take Leno's first team spot if he earns it quicker rather than later, because this man wants to be at the club. Leno doesn't. So I would love it to do that, to be that. And obviously, if he's coming for 30 million and he's not able to eclipse Leno, are we not going to have to sign a keeper next year? Because Leno probably is going to keep it moving. Probably going to have to sign a keeper anyways next year, because Leno's going to be gone. Are we betting on Arthur Conqueror and Carl Hein? But Aaron Ramsdale's revealed the touching reason why he brought his late granddad's ashes with him after signing for Arsenal. One love to him. Look at this, man. Fantastic moment. Let's see what's going on. He said, the day my mom found out she was pregnant with me was the day he died. Fucking hell, blood. He was called Ron and was from Blowich in Birmingham. And they used to say, oh, we're going to see our Ron. So I'm Aaron for our Ron. When his ashes were spread, my dad kept some of his ashes. He's gone on a little tour of 92. My dad brings him to all the games, and we have a picture of him in the stadium. Who's cutting onions, man? I did say in the car this morning that he wasn't coming out, but it was a nice touch. He would have been a footballer if his dad had allowed him, and he was a goalie, so there are little connections between us. My dad takes him everywhere. It keeps him close to our heart. Fucking hell, blood. Who's cutting onions, man? That is bloody hell, bruv. It's been difficult. It's never easy when you're trying to focus on playing your football with speculation in the background. It's difficult. Now I'm here and everything's sorted. It's been a long few days, but it's finally over the line. Now I can get onto the football pitch, crack on, and do what I do best. And I can't find the comments, people, but he did speak on challenging Leno and all of these sort of things, people. So at the end of the day, the man signed for the club. Might as well just get behind him. Like I said, my support doesn't mean you're free from constructive criticism and all of these things, but you get the point, man. Moving away from that, let me find the video for my guy. One sec, people. I'll bring it up for you lot. Now, as I was saying, Google's gone. As I was saying, it's one thing for you or me to talk about Ramsdale, but we might as well speak to Sheffield United fans who have informed opinions. People, I am actually waiting on a second of these sort of videos, but it is what it is, man. Shout out to my guy Hal for doing this. Shout out to the boys over at Sheffield United, the Sheffield United content creators. Obviously, let me make sure I get this right. Make sure you're taking in Sheffield United way. Them and they do what they need to do with Sheffield United and all the opinions and whatnot. But if I share this with you, share my video file. Hopefully this works. First time I'm attempting this, folks.
Hi, I'm Hal from the Sheffield United way. Good to talk about Aaron Ramsdale, former Sheffield United goalkeeper. I mean, at the time I'm recording this, it hasn't actually officially dotted line been concluded, but it will be. Worst kept secret in football. Aaron Ramsdale is a good goalkeeper. I know on social media you might see a lot of Arsenal fans criticising this as a signing that's not suitable for Arsenal. Well, I think he is actually good enough. It's whether he gets an opportunity, of course, which will be the big question. He is a very good shot stopper. Shots that are fired at him from close range, he's got incredible reaction time and speed. You can have a look at some highlights and see, particularly Newcastle away last season, you'll see some really good examples of him at his best. Weaknesses, he's got a mistake in him. But then, Dean Henderson, our former goalkeeper on loan from Manchester United, he had errors in him. And still a great keeper. I think they're actually on pretty much level par in terms of ability. I would say that there's a high ceiling for Aaron Ramsdale, potential-wise. He's already involved in the England setup. I'm sure there'll be add-ons with a transfer fee for if he makes an appearance for England, and I expect him to make an appearance for England. That'll largely be dependent on if he gets first-team football at Arsenal. He's not great at kicking the ball out. So he's not someone that was necessarily bought as a sweeper keeper, as the modern term is.
So
he's
kicking in distribution and a mistake.
Better with his hands, and he's brilliant with his hands. And we've already seen the one game without him, just how important he is at the back, how vocal he is, how commanding he is of his area, how he comes out and claims corners. But I wouldn't say that you want him doing any Manuel Neuer kind of trickery with his feet.
Shout out
I think Arsenal haven't overpaid because of how much Sheffield United paid. We overpaid buying him back, because let's remember Aaron Ramsdale is a Sheffield United youth player that was sold for peanuts to Bournemouth, and as is the Blades way, then bought back for an extravagant fee. If we were going to try and get our money back for what we paid for him, then all the wages we paid for him, the signing on fee that we've paid for him, the win bonuses, although to be fair, they won't be many. No, it's not overpaid. We wanted 40 million, and in the end, because Aaron forced a move, really, he wanted out once he heard Arsenal were interested, his head was turned. We've had to kind of settle. So no, and overall the deal just stinks for us. We want to keep him. We love him. We appreciate him. He's a Blade. We're Blades. I mean, he's actually a West Brom fan, but it doesn't matter.
So he's not an Arsenal fan. Like
we support him when he's had bad times. I'm not sure Arsenal fans are going to do that. And also it leaves us up a gum tree because we've now got to sign a keeper.
Arsenal support your players.
The transfer window
You've got Howe of Sheffield United way as well.
It's a terrible deal, and we're all really disappointed about it. Once Arsenal were interested, I think all Sheffield United fans knew it was going to happen. We don't keep hold of our players. I would say that long term, it could end up being a bad deal for us, a good deal for Arsenal. And in a way, I think he's used to having a poor defence in front of him. Bournemouth and Sheffield United are examples of that.
So he's in good company here, then.
Was very good in our season where we finished 9th in the Premier League, but then it all just fell apart. And that's not Aaron Ramsdale's fault. There were other mitigating circumstances like injuries to key players like John Egan and Jack O'Connell. Arsenal's defence is better than that, and he'll get more practice than perhaps he would have done in Arsenal teams of old. But he'll do fine, I think. I think overall, my thoughts on him, I like him. I think he's a really good keeper. I'm privileged to have seen a lot of good keepers. Sheffield United have had good keepers, and he's right up there. He's one of them. He's one we kind of take into our hearts. The way he's left is messy, and I don't think if he came back he'd get a round of applause now, because the rumours are he said he wanted to go. Well, anyone who wants to leave our football club, as with Arsenal, if anyone wants to leave Arsenal, you don't tend to hold them in high regard. But in terms of what he did on the pitch, we'll always be grateful. Good keeper, nice guy. One story I'll quickly tell you is he bought the old digs that he stayed at when he was a youth player at Sheffield United. He's bought that and he's renting it out to young players at Sheffield United now at a greatly reduced rate. I mean, good guy.
Good guy. So there you have it, man. Like I said, shout out to my guy Hal, and shout out to the Sheffield United way. Make sure you're going and doing up their YouTube. You're supporting what they're doing, and Other Butchers, man, they're good guys. They're doing good content. Other Butchers are their stuff. I'm sure they've probably indirectly touched on Ramsdale. But yeah, the main point of that was obviously, as I said, you, me, everyone, every Arsenal fan, we've got our opinions on what we think with Ramsdale. But I thought let's delve into the mind of a Sheffield United fan. So what we got from there is what we kind of know, in that, mentality is a mentality monster. The mentality should be there. His distribution can be good, but it can be better. And there's a bit of a shaky there in there. In that aspect, apparently he's got a mistake in him, which again we're gonna have to deal with. Leno's got a mistake in him. It's about minimizing those. As I said, the key thing for me in Ramsdale, I need to see leaders. Not just him. I need to see a unit. And I hope, again, I don't like to do the English thing, but you could see with a couple, the Ben Whites, him, we could get that sort of stuff. Again, with Ben White and Gabriel, hopefully they can find a common tongue to communicate with, and things could happen. So it doesn't look abundantly clear based on what he said, what he's better than Leno at. He does appear for me a bit more confident in his abilities than some Arsenal fans would suggest. I'm talking about how. So yeah, man, I think Ramsdale's gonna be all right. Let's just see what he's on, really. And for me, I want him to become the number one purely because Leno doesn't want to stay. So again, if he now F's off, where are we at? Who knows if he doesn't want to leave in January and things. But as I said, one love to Hal and all of those sort of things for offering that video for me, man. Big respect. And yeah, man, I have to really respect him, because I asked him, could he offer his opinions? I sent him a bunch of questions, and yeah, man, he didn't delay. So Hal and the rest of the Sheffield way boys, one love, man. So yeah, it is what it is. But that's that in relation to Ramsdale. And if you haven't seen the interview with Ramsdale, I'd implore you all to look at it as well. It's quite a good touching piece, man. The way listen, I'm not expecting Ramsdale at 23 to be amazing. I'm not expecting him to be amazing. He can't be amazing. All I hope is that we minimize what he's bad at, we maximize what he's good at, we give him confidence. For me, there's no way I want to see Ben White coming in for 50, 30 million on Ramsdale to go with 28 on Gabriel in the last 18 months, and we don't have some stability in that defense. I want that defense to look like a unit. Keeper understands what the fullbacks need to do. Fullbacks always speaking with their wingers. Fullbacks are speaking with midfielders. Midfielders and centre halves. Consistent communication. Personally, I think it's a bit of a struggle. I don't think we're going to quite get there because of the midfield. I'd still, and obviously distribution. We hear his distribution's a bit crazy. For me, as long as he's for me, the one reason I think it will work out, how good it has to be, I don't know. I think it will work out because he's got the mentality, but it's down to Arsenal and Aaron Ramsdale. Do they want this 30 million to look like peanuts, or do they want us to say it's overpaid? It's down to them to write the story. I don't know when Ramsdale's going to get his opportunity, Ironically, he's probably joined at the best time. I just clocked, Ironically, we heard he was a West Bromwich Albion fan. Surely he starts against West Brom next week in the Cup. Surely that's the best chance to give him an opportunity, because I don't know what's going to happen, but, at least until the international break, such is life, things can happen for you quickly, but I can't imagine that he eclipses Leno before them. So it'll be interesting to see, and we're learning a lot about my man all the time, innit? So let's see what he's on there. So it is what it is. Hit the like button if you haven't. What's the time? Not too long before the watch along on Twitch, people. So make sure you're there, man. What else are you lot saying? Oh, I thought that was some Arsenal news. That's a bit depressing. Just someone talking nonsense in my WhatsApp group. I thought Arsenal was trying to say someone. Look at the mistakes Alisson made last season. Bro, half of these keepers got mistakes in them. But to be fair, he's not them man's level, though. Alisson was a better keeper at Roma. Edison was a better keeper at, forgive me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure Benfica. Then Ramsdale was. I think we've just got to get behind him. What I don't want to see happens is when he does make that inevitable mistake or that opportunity he could have done better, we get onto him. Right now, it's looking like we've just signed the Leno V2. I'm not gonna lie, with a bit more vocal. I'm not gonna lie. For me, looking at Ramsdale, I like the mentality. I think he's better than people give him credit for on the ball, but I think his distribution does appear a bit shaky, and like you saw, looks a bit shaky. Sometimes I feel his decision-making when rushing off his line, he can get a rush of blood. But, I want it to work out because 30 million could look very cheap on a 23-year-old if he does his thing for a significant period of time. As I said, it's down to Arteta to improve the player collectively. It's down to Arteta to find the system collectively as well as individually for the player and the whole squad. Then know his weaknesses and how you're going to improve him. As I always say, you've signed Ben White when he's been on the cusp of the England team. How are you going to develop him so that he's more of a genuine option? The same with Ramsdale. How are you going to take Balogun, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Saka, all of these guys, Odegaard even, all of these guys, because they clearly all signed because they believe in what you're telling them. Young, innovative and hungry like the manager. You can improve and be part of this team, but it's about what they're doing. Of course, it comes down to the individual first and foremost. And I think Ramsdale's mentality is good. The way he's been speaking, the way he's been carrying on. When the mentality is there, I think anything can happen for you, innit? So let's just hope it can be a good signing, and I support him all the way. Support doesn't mean free from constructive criticism, but yeah, it is what it is. Confirmed by Arsenal. Sorry, folks. Let me just add up those timestamps. One love from a deluded Irish villain. Hit the like. One love to the Irish, man. All the Irish ones locked in. I appreciate that, and I appreciate that super chat, my guy. One love. God bless you. Hope you have good health and all of those sort of things, man. Everyone else listening as well. What are you lot saying? But the lack of distribution is concerning. Doesn't sound like he's good at playing from the back. So why did Arsenal buy him if that's what Arteta wants, bro? We're gonna have to find out, man. Anyone who supports Arsenal deserves our support at the very least. We was out here singing Ceballos, bro. Man, I'm saying Xhaka is better than Vieira. Arsenal fans are weird because they open their legs for mediocre stuff. Ceballos did a little turn against Newcastle. He's the best bee's knees, and then that same energy flips on its head, man. Leno is a very good shot stopper. Question is, does Ramsdale command his area? Good communication, kicking and distribution. I think he commands his area a bit better than Leno. I do think he's a better communicator than Leno in relation to kicking and distribution. As I said, I think he's better than people give him credit for. But that's the one question mark. All I really care about is can a keeper use his hands? But as you said, that's the one question mark. And that's the question mark for me as to why we're signing Ramsdale. If he's a good keeper and he's vocal and that, it's cool. But you can't evidently look at him and say, yo, that's a ball playing keeper. And it's like what you're saying. Then how does it tie into what we're doing really and truly, So we're going to have to see really, like the rude gentleman, we're going to have to see, man. We're just going to have to see. Hopefully he starts. I reckon he starts in midweek against West Brom. I don't know that for true. I'm just trying to think logically. When is there a better chance to give your keeper another opportunity. I don't think anything can happen, you know, with a week's training, but I don't think he's going to throw him in there against City. I think he'll make his debut against his boyhood club or the team he supported as a lad, allegedly in West Brom. And then anything past that is down to him, really. Just to remind people, Areola and Onana were available for cheaper and have played in the Champions League, making them certified top 4 quality. Xhaka's played Champions League football. Mustafi's played Champions League football. It doesn't necessarily work like that. Why are fans mad? Is it your money? Honestly, I don't think any other fan can rival DG. This dude knows football. I don't know about that, my guy. I just love to speak about footy, man, and we'll be with you guys. I don't know past that, though. You know, I love for that anyways. 40.2 already, 50K by December. Oof! Big ox. We try, man. I was thinking before the end of the season, man. I would love to, but we keep trying. I need you lot to push the ticket. Appreciate that, Joey. We've got to back players who try even more when they make a mistake. That's it. You know, I think with it, you've got to separate constructive criticism. I just think there's two extremes. Like when I'm criticizing someone, bro, I'm not saying it for no reason. Like I want everyone to be a success here. I don't believe in Bellerin or Runnison. There'll be no one happier than me if Runnison somehow stepped up and Bellerin stepped up and became certified. Too many people are loyal to their agendas, man. You know. Arsenal talk is so toxic. People are now interested in Liverpool's game against Burnley, and y'all talk about this dead club. Hey, man, dead club or not, I love this football club, you know. Never stop loving this football club. Even the day I die, I'm going to be haunting the Emirates and stuff, you know. Hopefully I die before Kroenke. I'll go start haunting him and make him sell the club and things. In fact, let me touch wood. I shouldn't even talk that into existence. Bit of dark humor, but, you know, love the club. We'll always talk about the club. No matter how much we say, oh, we're done, we finished this, no more. No more deluded vids. I'm over with this. Sling your rook, Arsenal. Man's back here tomorrow. It's truly a toxic relationship. I wouldn't have it any other way. And I love to be here sharing it with you guys, man. Like I said, make sure you're hitting the like button and one. Like, bro, Derek, I don't get it. You know, fans will turn on Aubameyang, will turn up their nose to Odegaard, won't even give Ramsdale a chance. But duds that have been doing this thing and failing for years, you're still getting behind them. You know, I'm not saying players deserve, you know, one. I'm not saying one rule for one and the next rule for others, but I'm just saying, why can't everyone be afforded that luxury? You know, it's a bit mad. You know, players that have actually done good things for our club, they're in bad form and people have turned on them, but people are still riding for duds. Come on now, man. Make it make sense. Everyone's free for their opinion, but come on, man. Come on, man. 700 plus in the chat and the likes aren't even at 500. You man are lacking. You need to smash the like and support DG. One love, man. The fans are on edge already. Ramsdale is in for a roller coaster ride. To be honest with you, he can't be under any illusion, innit? You know, all he needs to understand is football fans are fickle. You know, the same rope you climb up on is the same rope you hang you with. You know, I even use that approach in YouTube. I'm no idiot. I know some of you love, man, but I know some of the love is subjective, you know. Many people say, oh, DG, I love your content. The minute I speak about racism, oh, wow, I love you, but you're always talking about that racism stuff. You don't love man, bro. Or the minute people could disagree with me, but the minute they disagree with something, man, are really onto me. So it's like, as long as you know yourself, that's it. Ramsdale can't be under any illusion. David Seaman, Aaron Ramsey, 2 names off the top of my head, question marks over them before they stepped foot into this club. Not fair to Ramsey. Ramsey, people are saying he was shit and then he patterned. David Seaman, they say were different, but you get it. And they did their thing. You know, Ramsdale can't be under any illusion. Be happy that I said with Balogun as a young striker, be happy you signed the deal, but no, the fans don't love you. The love is subjective. The same one saying, oh, we should sell Aubameyang and Lacazette and Martinelli and do this with Balogun. The same one saying not good enough and this and that. That's how the majority of football fans are. They just live in extremes. They live day to day. There's no real critique where they're coming from or any thoughtful, careful analysis. You know, the minute Ramsdale has a good game, his harshest critics, and I'm not talking about constructive criticism, just the people just getting at him, they'll be the ones supporting him the most. So all I hope is he's got that headspace. What I would say to Ramsdale is play for the fans, love the fans, all of this, but you just need to focus on what you're doing in London Coley, because whether I rate Arteta or Edu or not, end of the day, they're the technical director and the gaffer of this football club. They have chosen to sign you. Not Joe Bloggs, the cabbie, and big up all my cabbies, the cabbie man from down the street. His opinion don't matter, you know. The one opinion, guys that brought you to this club, their opinion matters. So do your thing and be under no illusion. You know, come here with focus. And I hope you're happy you signed for Arsenal. But for me, if I'm you, there's a World Cup. You've taken a big, you know, you've joined Arsenal. You might not get there in the Championship, but you definitely might not get called up being second choice. You need to dislodge Leno. You need to, you know, have everybody in the footballing world talking about you and making yourself an undoubtable man to get on that plane for England, because you got into the England squad on a technicality. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Dean Henderson got injured. How are you going to do this thing? You know, Ben White, the same thing. You know, have some focus. This is what I mean when I say play for yourself. You know, come here with some focus. You want to leave some legacy. You know, he spoke about his granddad and things. Come here with some urgency and some determination. The problem is, you know, I think everybody does arrive like this, but at some point, you know, you become a result of what you hang around with, you know. If the coach is a joke, everybody starts looking like they're part of a circus eventually. So I have to see, man. Sheffield United fan opinion on Ramsdale. What am I gonna eat for lunch, man? I'm hungry. Anyways, moving on from that, you know, where are we at for likes as well? We're working to a tight schedule, as I've said, people. We're at 495, so almost at 500. One love to the people there, man. De Gea's too many mistakes in the last few years. What's De Gea got to do with this? One love to my guy Zio Genius as well. Zivo Genius. I can never pronounce your name, man. Make sure you're checking out his YouTube content. Should have actually got him on to speak about Chelsea. Really. One love, my guy. Bro, is actually that made me emotional. Like I said, as much as I sympathize with that, it's irrelevant because I'm not gonna use that as a reason to keep you if you're not doing your job. But come on now, man. It just like I said, stop cutting onions, bro. Like you want him to do well. How can you not want a man to do well after that? Seriously, you know. And just the way Ramsdale talks, man. Like I'm not gonna say he's speaking like an Arsenal fan, but he genuinely looks like, you know, I feel like I've accomplished something. And live from the bando. Hope it don't get rated, my guy. One love regardless. Bro, every goalkeeper is gonna make mistakes, bro. Alisson had some clangers last season, but you know he's serious. You know he's absolutely serious. Man are not invincible. Mistakes are going to happen. Yeah, man. Liverpool Burnley watch along. I believe at 12:15. Live from 12:15. I could be wrong, but yeah, man, that's over there on Twitch. Yo. Don't hit women, my guy. That's the yo. Definitely not your girl, my guy, man. DG, you're too humble, man. Fix up your thing is wavy. Do you know, broski? If you don't stay humble, life will humble you. Life's humbled me before, you know. Man, don't want to get humbled by life, you know. Do you know, I used to walk through life in my short 26 years. There was a time I used to look down on people and say, oh, I can never be that. That could never be, man. That could do this. He's this. He's that. And then life humbled you, bro. I told you, you lot have seen my vids, Tottenham, bro. Life will humble you when you think you got no prospects. You're sitting there aimlessly in Tottenham marshes. Nothing's getting better. Everything's getting wrong. You got no P's. You got no prospects. You know, everything around you is negative. Bro, stay humble, man. Stay humble. Everything can change in your life for the better and the worse, man. And I just stay humble, bro. I know I'm never as good as people make out. I'm never as bad as people make out. This is the only way to keep level-headed. I get too down on negative comments, bro, man, this thing is finished. I get too excited with positive comments, man, I'm going to think I'm better than I am. So level-headed, always got something to prove to myself each and every time. Ramsdale is a better keeper at 23 than Alisson and Emerson. We'll have to see, man. I don't know. I have to take your word for that one still. I can't lie. I don't know. Do you think that the team he's played in has an impact on our judgment on him playing with his feet? To a degree, yeah, but I mean, we don't absolutely know what he's on playing with his feet, so it's a bit of a mazza. Ramsdale doesn't need to be outstanding, but needs to add. I think you're trying to say playing out from the back. Yeah, it doesn't need to be world-class. For me, all I care about is my keeper can give me confidence. There's bare keepers that are not world-class in and about, but they give you confidence. Would you say, again, I'm trying to do him dirty. I think he's one of the best in the league, but I wouldn't say he's a world-class keeper. Kasper Schmeichel, you know, I don't think he's world-class at anything. I don't think he's a world-class keeper, but what I think he is, he's a very good keeper, very reliable, has a mistake in him as well, but he does everything well. Decent playing out from the back with his feet. I wouldn't have him as a ball-playing keeper, but if you watch ball, you saw it for Denmark, you see it for Leicester, he can play a pass. And crucially, mentality monster. You're always going to have that when you've got, you know, the name's Michael and that. But you know, I don't want to be disrespectful to him. He's come off his own back. He's had to put in a hard graft as well as being at Leicester. So yeah, man, you know, that's where I'm at with that one. So we'll have to genuinely see what's going on, really and truly. Even Mendy, like I think Chelsea will upgrade on Mendy soon, but he's doing a job. Like, bro, he's competent. You can rely on, man. You know, one love to the Kent ones as well. Hope you're having a good day, and whatnot, folks. But yeah, man, it's 12:30 kickoff, so I'm gonna get out of here, people, just so I can open up my other laptop, set up the Twitch, and be ready for, you know, kickoff and things. So yeah, come and join me. Check out the pin message. Come over and join me, obviously, on Twitch. Liverpool versus Burnley live watch along. You know, you've got to diversify the thing and whatnot. So yeah, I'd love to see you all there. If not, you know, it's been amazing to be with you lot, people. But it is what it is, man. Much love to everyone as well. Like he said, man, this is the reason why I like coming here every day, man. We learn from each other. We have some positive debates, you know. We have some other things, you know. You get the dislikers and things, obviously, like somebody said there. But it is what it is, man. Like, it's been a pleasure. But yeah, we're sadly, you know, we're tight for time. What time of my life? 12:15. So yeah, we got to start that now. Really and truly start getting things patterned, man. We'll do, man. One love to everybody and whatnot, man. Love. Don't forget the outro, bro. Of course not. Of course not. You man are on me. The goal or this one first. Let's go with the goal first. In fact, this.
So there's always just that active red light. Defenders, I think, it's like.
Oh shit! Aye.
Against this right back, Charlie's definitely.